Welcome to the Salty Spittoon. How tough are you? I'm Resonance22, and today I'll be bringing you all my commentary on some games from the ZeroEmpires Invitational Tournament, which will be hosted, of course, on the Forgotten expansion pack to Age of Empires 2 HD. Today we will be watching Round 2, which is a best-of-3 series between Milmano and Nico, two 2K rated players. And in Game 2, we're going to be watching a Nomad Incas Mirror Match. Both players here are going to be playing as the Incas civilization, which is one of the civilizations added in the Forgotten expansion pack, on the map Nomad. Not Land Nomad, this is the Nomad that has the water on it. And of course, if you have not seen Game 1 in the series, this is Game 2, remember? If you haven't seen Game 1, make sure you go take a look in the video description for the link to Game 1, and watch that one first. Gotta say, Game 1 was one of the best matches I think I've ever seen in quite a long time, if not, one of the best matches I think we've had in Aoe2 HD since its release. So, really good match, make sure to check that one out first. And I'm gonna start talking about Game 1 in just a little bit, so if you want to avoid spoilers, make sure you watch Game 1 first. And if you're watching this live, then I'll have all of the VODs uploaded to YouTube relatively shortly. So you should be able to see those over the next couple of days. Alright, so without further ado, let us jump straight into Game 2. If Milmano wins this one, then that means he's going to win this series. And of course, guys, as well, I did go out of my way to make sure that I don't know the outcome of any of these games. I tried my hardest to avoid spoilers, so if we can avoid posting any spoilers in the Twitch chat for the remainder of this stream, I'd really appreciate it. I don't know the results of any of the matches in rounds 2 or 3 in the ZeroEmpires Invitational, as I plan to cast many of those matches in the future. Many of them will be replays, perhaps some will be live. We'll see, we'll see. Alright, without further ado, let's jump straight into this. What do I lack, Teslano? Let me know, sir. Yeah, Game 1 was really good, Regular Panda. I think you guys are going to love that one. I'll have that uploaded in a day or so. This is going to be Nomad. Both players playing the Incas. Let's take a look at the Incas really quickly. Didn't really do this in the last game, but the Incas are an infantry civilization. They start with a free llama. Their villagers are affected by blacksmith upgrades. Still not quite as powerful as the Spanish villagers with supremacy, but they're pretty formidable, definitely, in the early game. Their houses support 10 population, perfect for any player that likes to get housed all the time. Cough me cough. Buildings cost less stone, which is useful if you plan on tower rushing or just putting down castles and town centers. And they have a team bonus that is, I guess, deceptively useless, but not that good anyway, but it helps a bit, is that their farms build a bit faster. The main weakness of the Incas is that their Eagle Warriors aren't very good compared to the other ones. I guess you could say they're better for raiding, because the only bonus that their Eagle Warriors get is that they move faster, but that pales in comparison to the Aztecs and the Mayans bonuses, where they get either more HP or more attack. So the Incas Eagles aren't as good in combat, and they're just not as good overall in general, but otherwise the Incas are a peculiar civ with a peculiar set of bonuses. Wait, if you're playing Nomad, I guess you don't start with a free llama, which is unfortunate. A llama is basically just a sheep with a slightly better line of sight. I'm looking forward to seeing how this match turns out, though. I don't think I've seen a single Incas Nomad war in my life, and I doubt either player has really practiced too much on this specific setup, so I expect to see the plays. It'll be a really, really peculiar match. Both players actually did spawn quite far away from each other. This means that this match probably won't be really short. I expect this match to go on for, longer than some Nomad matches tend to. If players spawn really close to each other and choose to put their town centers in close proximity, then these matches can be over relatively quickly. One tiny mistake can end that game. Interestingly enough, though, is that Milmano actually has a gold mine right here, as we can see, right here. But, oh wait, sorry, yeah. Nico has a gold mine right there. Whoops. My bad, guys. So, Nico has a gold mine, but Milmano's gold is, I think this is basically his closest gold mine. He doesn't have any gold nearby. He's got stone, but no gold. Whereas Nico has gold, and I guess no stone. Alright, so both players here are going to be working with their respective choice of resources. Although in the end, I do think I favor where Milmano put his town center just a teeny bit more. He's got these 2 boars right here. He's got 3 boars right here, alright, so that's really good. He's got access to, you know, he's putting a dock right here, which we'll see most players do on Nomad, right at the start. Taking a hold of the water and putting in a bunch of fishing ships gives you a really big edge. But, you know, he's got a much bigger body of water at his disposal here, so Milmano has access to more fish than Nico does. You know, if Nico docks, like, right about here, which he is, this is a good position for a dock, because again, the body of water that's around this specific dock has a lot more fish in it than if he just put his dock right here. So really well done on Nico's part. But yeah, Milmano has access to more fish overall. And a bunch of boars, whereas Nico here looks like he's only got deer right around his town center, so no boars for Nico. Both players putting down their docks, though. Milmano did get his up first, so he should be having his fishing ships pumping out a little bit sooner. Actually, he doesn't have the wood for it right now. So anyway, what's the strategy on Nomad, right? This isn't land nomads, so that means that, you know, there's water on this, basically. And as with basically any map with water on it, and the more water, the more this is relevant, whoever gets a hold of the water gets a huge edge in these games. When you think about it, there is so much food in the water. And the amount of wood that you have to invest in fishing ships and docks is oh so worth it. It gives you a really, really big edge if you can get access to all of this food. Not only that, but docks kind of serve as another town center in the early game in that sense. Fishing ships can be considered another villager, and you know, if you've got a dock down and your opponent has no docks, then you can really get a big ego lead in that sense. Not only that, but villagers gather food at different rates from different sources of food. Unfortunately, the game doesn't really tell you that, even though it would be extremely helpful to know. And this means, though, that fishing ships actually gather from deep sea fish, like the, you know, the snapper, the dorado. Looks like is that all we have this game, snapper and dorado? I guess so. So yeah, they gather faster from deep sea fish. Obviously, greatfish marlin is the best. You know, much faster than a villager would gather from a farm. Looks like actually Nico did find a boar. There was a boar up here in the end, so yeah, good scouting from Nico. I'm seeing a trend in these games, is that Nico's scouting just appears to be superior. Milmano's scouting in these games has, for lack of a better word, been rather lackluster. Actually, he really has no map vision at all. This is a very peculiar scouting shape, but it's definitely not nearly as much as Nico here. Nico has once again sustained basically a 100-point lead in the beginning because of the scouting. And Destroy asks me, Resonance, what do you think of the Twitch-YouTube integration? I think it's unfortunate because if Google does decide to go through with that, and I don't think it's been confirmed yet, I think they're just setting up the, I think Twitch is just getting ready for the negotiations. But the problem is that since Twitch is considering being bought out, that means that they are focusing a lot more on copyright issues, I guess, although I think that they would have had to do that inevitably, no matter what. And I think that's bad for most streamers who rely on playing their own music. I think that a lot of these companies overlook the idea that, you know, people playing their music is actually like free advertising and not necessarily super detrimental for their sale. I can't really think of too many people who would just watch Twitch VODs just for the music. They're like, wow, on this Twitch website, did you guys know you can listen to copyrighted music for free? I don't think anyone has ever thought that, so I think it's unfortunate in the sense that it's speeding up the process that they're cracking down on copyright, but otherwise it could be good, you know, allowing them to improve their servers, I guess, and get some more money in there. Maybe we'll get some new features, I don't know. We'll see where this goes, but in the meantime, if they're limiting it to the copyright, Content ID is a terrible thing, guys. It frequently, the problem is false positives, I guess, is that, you know, independent artists who write their own music often get copyright strikes filed against them and their videos muted with the YouTube and the new Twitch Content ID system, which just, you know, marks it as some other music, so. It's a complex topic, I'm not really going to go much into it beyond that. I think it's a mixed bag. We'll see. We'll see what Twitch does with this. Yeah, guys, you can use Twitch. It's basically like the Pirate Bay. Anyway, jumping straight into this game, taking control of the water. Like I said, pretty huge. Nico has. This is massively. This is absolutely ridiculous here. I can only hope it's because Milmano is advancing to the next stage. Nope. Once again, Milmano is, okay, well, he's no sheep, so I guess that's part of it. Milmano has no sheep left, so scouting, he'd probably have to scout with one of his villagers, which I don't think he really wants to do. But I think that's because he ate all of his sheep. Nico here, though, as we can see, you know, he's taken all these sheep and he's just scouting around the entire map. He knows the map layout. He does not necessarily know where Milmano is, but he has a good idea at this point. He assumes that Milmano is probably over there. And this is giving him a massive score lead. We're over 200 points at this point. And Milmano hasn't scouted the fishing ship either, so he doesn't really know the water either. Thankfully, he's at least found some gold, but he isn't aware of the gold up here yet. And he has no idea where Nico is. Both players here are getting a little bit closer and closer to the feudal age. And as we get closer to the feudal age, I think the fact that Nico has, you know, so much more of the map explored is going to give him a colossal edge. I understand that both players aren't really scouting with their fishing ships because they don't want any idle time on them. They want the fishing ships gathering food, but, you know, in Milmano's case, perhaps it would be beneficial to do some scouting of really any type. Alright, looks like, but yeah, again, he doesn't have any sheep, so it can be kind of difficult in his shoes. Alright, so Nico has finally found Milmano. He's putting down a barracks. And that's a lot of villagers on gold. He's putting down a mining camp. This way his villagers, again, don't have to walk super far to go drop off the gold. Doesn't matter what side of the gold mine they are mining from, now they will have to walk a short distance. I expect to see some galleys out from both players, or maybe we'll just see them go straight into archers. But as I established earlier, water control on maps like Islands, Nomad, Mediterranean is absolutely critical. Hello, Neil. Welcome to the stream, man. Pleasure as always. So yeah, it's absolutely critical. There's so much food here, and it also gives you so much map control. Not only if you get control of the ocean, do you get all these fish, which, as we can see, and making a huge difference here, it's a lot of food. But it also means you can, you know, freely just put galleys here and just harass Milmano. You'd probably start poking at a couple of these villagers with galleys, even from the water. Having that much map advantage here is pretty important. And, well, the score lead is really widening. Alright, looks like Milmano has actually found his gold, which is pretty good. This is definitely the more optimal gold mine than one of these, which is much closer to Nico, but he hasn't found Nico yet. And Milmano is falling a little bit behind here. Nico only has one pop lead, but the fact that Nico got his barracks up a lot sooner, when he's, well, I guess he's like only slightly close to the feudal age. And he also got his gold mine up a bit faster. He's got more resources stockpiled than Milmano, essentially, and depending on what the players go into, Nico will actually be able to advance the castle age much sooner and plop out some archers a little bit better than Milmano can here, but the difference isn't that big. It looks huge from looking at the scores, but it's not that huge. It's more of an artificial score lead at this point. Alright, so it looks like we've got one archer range coming out from Nico here, as he is also making galleys. We'll see Milmano's response. He's putting down 2 archer ranges here, so he's investing a little bit more. Oh wait, actually no, that's a blacksmith, never mind. He's putting down an archer range and a blacksmith, and he's not making any galleys, actually. This is incredibly risky. As the galleys are coming out here from our friend Nico, slowly, you know, floating their way around the edge of this island. Once they get here, they'll be able to do some pretty solid damage to Milmano's fishing ships. They'll probably be able to zone these fishing ships off entirely, and I do like Nico's decision here to use one of his fishing ships to scout. I think this is a really smart idea. You know, he doesn't need all these fishing ships working right now, whereas in the early game it really would have helped a lot. So I like that, you know, he's willing to pull one off here to get some map information, and he has identified Milmano's fishing ship location. And as the galley is approaching, we can imagine the Jaws theme in our head. Rip Milmano's fishing economy, and this could give Nico, well, the game even. We'll see. Really, a lot of these water maps are really boiled down to who has control of the water, but you can certainly win without it. Okay, so Milmano does have the fletching advantage, though. He's got one of these archers into Nico's economy. He has finally found Nico's base. He has to be really careful here. If Nico recognizes this, he could just ring the town bell, or just grab a bunch of these villagers, garrison them in here, and just kill that archer for free, but he doesn't notice that in time. Both players poking around with a couple archers, and here comes the galley. Uh-oh. Milmano's got a tough choice here. He either has to, he probably should take these fishing ships and just run them away. They'll have to all be idle regardless, though. He's either going to lose them, or he's going to have to run them to like a corner of the map, like over here or something like that. That way, that when these galleys are cleared out, he can put the fishing ships back to work. But right now, he's already lost one fishing ship, and he might lose more. He's also going to lose this archer here. Ooh, he went for padded archer armor as well. Very bold decision. We'll see if that pays off, but he's going to lose a lot of these archers here for free. He's lost two here, one to scouting, because again, he didn't really manage to get off any scouting early on, and now the military lead is in the hands of Nico on both fronts. I think that it was a really risky decision of Milmano to put down that blacksmith early. Not, because that cost him a lot of wood. Essentially, he didn't really have a lot of wood to put down a galley. Not only that, but he opted to wait to put out his first galley anyway, even when he could afford to. And now, as we can see, Nico has arrived with galley number 2. And that means that it is curtains for Milmano's fishing economy. Rest in pepperonis, these fishing ships. They are long gone, and oh my god, wait, what? Nico is up to castle age. Alright, this game is quickly spiraling out of Milmano's control. It is amazing to think, how quickly this match just left Milmano's grasp. Like, he threw away a couple of archers. He lost, like, 2 archers. He was a little late on putting up his gold, and it's just these tiny little things gave such a huge lead to Nico. And really, I'd say that the clincher of this game is that not only did he not make any galleys, but his galleys, he's been throwing them away for free, I guess. Losing control of the water here is not a good idea, and, you know, after the first galley, anything else there was, those galleys were just gonna die, I guess. You know, 1 galley can't beat 3, no matter how much of a god you are at Micro. Maybe the Viper could do it, but most people can't. And, you know, that's 90 wood, that's 30 gold there, just gone, and... well, Nico here is intelligently exploiting the minimum range on this watchtower, and just sitting underneath it, zoning Milmano off his gold, and the Mil macro is crumbling. Crumbling before our eyes here. The little tiny things making a big difference, but Milmano here is making a good play. He's wormed his way into Nico's economy, and, you know, Nico's army is all the way over here, and Milmano is taking great advantage of this fact, and he's doing some really good economic damage to Nico here. As we can see, probably too little too late. This one archer is going to die for free here. And, you know, the fact that Nico is in the castle age, he's got bodkin arrow, he's got crossbowman, he's got a solid 2-range advantage on these archers. These have a range of 5, these have a range of 7. Well, it's not going to be very good for these archers. They're going to take a lot of damage for free before they can fire back, and unfortunately Milmano here is going to walk straight into this town center fire. He's going to lose a bunch of these archers right now. And, well, Nico's moving up the crossman line, and I think this might actually be curtains for Milmano. Wow. This match spiraled out of his control oh so quickly. And I think definitely part of it is the huge economic lead that Nico has when, you know, he's got control of the water, and Milmano has, like, no fishing ships left whatsoever. And Milmano here does end up conceding the game at this point. And, well, yeah. Definitely tragic. Another really critical part of this game to consider is that Milmano, unfortunately for him, I guess this was just based off his map and where he also decided to put his town center, is that he had to mine his gold all the way over here, right? Whereas Nico actually put his main town center on his gold mine. This means that it's a lot harder for Milmano to come in there and zone Nico off of his gold. He can't really deprive Nico off his gold, and it's really important to try and do that to your opponent's gold. Is a very critical resource necessary for a powerful army. And since Nico intelligently put his town center here right next to his main gold, this means that Milmano cannot harass those gold miners that easily. Whereas, as we saw here, when Nico sent in the crossbowmen, Milmano was forced essentially to put down a watchtower here. But Nico could just put his crossmen underneath this watchtower and still zone Milmano off the gold anyway. Milmano was goldless, and there wasn't really anything he could do about that. Having access to this stone mine was definitely not as useful as having easy access to gold. And of course, the decision to delay the galley definitely cost Milmano, and it just goes to show that Nomad is an incredibly unforgiving map, where really, really tiny misjudgments and tiny little inefficiencies can really snowball out of control incredibly quickly and even lose you the game. So even though this game was really close at the start, Milmano just managed to... the match managed to fall out of his control really, really fast. In maybe like 2 minutes, Milmano went from being completely even with Nico to basically being GG. I don't know if I'd really attribute that too much to the lack of scouting early on, but that definitely exacerbated the score lead here, and it gave, well, Nico... wow, like 1,000 score lead. But a lot of that was scouting, so yeah. Pretty short game, not particularly close here. I guess it just goes to show the importance of being the first player to get galleys out on these water matches, to try and secure control of the water. It also goes to show that Nomad can be unforgiving with map generation for sure, as Milmano had his gold really far away. That losing just a small number of archers can actually lose you the entire game. No forward university from Milmano this game, but life goes on. This means, though, that even though this game was pretty one-sided, that this means that we're actually going to go all the way to Game 3 in this series. Milmano is now 1 game up, and Nico is now 1 game. So they both, it's 1-1 right now. Not 1 up. It's both 1-1 right now, and we're going to go all the way to Game 3 here, which will decide the game, and that will be on Arabia, an Arabia Mirror Match. Both players playing the same civilization, and we will see who the better player really is. Because yeah, Game 1 was really, really close, and even though Game 2 wasn't close, I have high hopes for Game 3. Both players have shown the capacity here to make some huge plays, so I'm curious to see how Game 3 will unfold. So without further ado, let us check out the achievements now that we've talked a little bit about Nomad. Nico played that match extremely well, so major credit for him. But yes, we're going straight to Game 3. Yeah, if you want to play Pokemon games on the PC, let's see, my name is Trillion Vale. If you want to play Pokemon games on the PC, I always recommend the emulator DES-Mume or Desmume, or however you pronounce it. I'm sure I'm butchering that one, but I really like that emulator. It's free. I personally enjoy it, and it does the job. Pokemon is loads of fun. Alright, so we're gonna jump straight into Game 3 in just a couple minutes, guys. Well, Vanla, I would love for you to send me more of those, more series, of course, but I won't be casting them at this specific moment, but I will definitely be casting those, I think. A Visual Boy Advance is definitely really good for Game Boy Advance games. So yeah, this game was not very close, even though both players had a similar size, largest army. The fact that Nico got to the Castle Age first, and he got a couple kills on Milmano's archers for free, meant that Milmano couldn't take that battle. And then Milmano lost control of the water, and basically the game with it, so... definitely an unfortunate situation for him, but this game looked really close. In fact, Milmano had a villager lead. Most certainly due to the fact that Milmano was in the Feudal Age, and that Nico there, you know, during that time he's advancing to the Castle Age, can't produce any more villagers, so... that's why Milmano got a bit of a villager lead, but it didn't really matter because he was completely zoned off his gold and he had no access to fishing ships, so... Nomad is a very, very snowbally and unforgiving map for sure, but either way, this means that the series is going all the way to Game 3, which I will be casting in just a few minutes. Of course, if you missed out in Game 1, you can check that out on my YouTube page, although if you're watching this live, it It'll be uploaded soon. So thank you so much for watching as usual, guys. I do appreciate the support. I've got plenty of other Age of Empires 2 videos on my YouTube channel, so if you liked this one, you'll probably like those as well. So feel free to go give those a look if you like them. And of course, if you did enjoy this video, leave me a like rating, as it helps me out quite a bit. So thank you so much for the support as always, guys. I really appreciate you, those of you who are tuning in both live and on YouTube. I'll be casting plenty of other games in this tournament. I already have a couple of them on my YouTube page. There'll be more to come. And I'll be back in just a couple minutes to go give you guys my live commentary on the replay for Game 3 in the series between Milmano and Nico. It's going to be an Arabia Mirror Civs game, so we'll see who comes out on top here. After Game 1, I've got really high hopes for it, so I'm really looking forward to this game. I'll see you all in just a little bit. Say like 30 seconds or something like that. See you all shortly. GG, guys.